Hello, parents. My name is Mike Fink. I am your child's English 10 teacher for this year. I'm sorry I couldn't make back to school night tonight. I have my son's back to school night, so I'll be learning all about fifth grade. So, in place of me actually giving this presentation in person, this is the next best thing. So, if you would give me a few minutes of your time, I'd like to just give you my same presentation that I would be giving normally in the classroom. So, first, a little bit about me, and then we'll get into some English stuff. So first off, a little bit about me. This is my 15th year at Council Rock North, and I wrote that's only my only real job I've ever had, my only real adult job that I've ever had. This is a great place. I'll never leave. Your kids are in great hands with me and with other teachers that are in this building. We really, love what we do, and it's a really great place. Along with being a teacher, teaching English 10, I also am the advisor of the Student Executive Board, which is essentially student government. It's called SEB here, though. We're in charge of some big social events, we'll call them, like Blue and White Night, the talent show, Mr. Council Rock North. We also do like food drives and clothing drives and blood drives, stuff like that, just that the whole entire school community can be a part of. So I'm a good person to talk to when it comes to these social events as well. Before I got here, I got my undergrad from Villanova University with my degree in English, and then I went right and got my master's at St. Joe's University and my teaching certificate. I have two children, Liam, who's 10, that's whose back to school night will be out tonight, and EJ, and he's 8 years old. And this is a picture of them getting ready to go on a bike ride. All right. So in English 10, this is what I was trying to sort of give them some advice on the first day of school. These are sort of my expectations. I wrote students should be present. Now, obviously, being present, sitting in the desk that, that they're supposed to be sitting in, that's being present. You get checked off that you're here. But what I mean by that is being in the moment, okay? Interacting with their classmates, answering questions, volunteering, that kind of thing. I know that maybe this isn't their favorite subject, but I want them to still embrace it and jump in with 2 feet and really kind of be present. And I wrote there's a difference between being here and being here. Okay, so they need to be present. Number two is be flexible. I'm pretty flexible as a teacher in terms of if they need an extension on something or they're absent, like I'm happy to make some arrangements to fix that. But I need them to be flexible too. I've taught English 10 many, many, many years, but I'm always trying to change it. And sometimes things work, sometimes things don't work. I may give a due date and have to give an extension for everyone on that because we're not ready for to take that test. We're not ready to turn in that essay just yet. So for them to be flexible with me. Being prepared, in the 21st century classroom looks a lot different than maybe when you and I were in the classroom. Being prepared, is obviously doing your homework and studying, but it's the biggest thing in this class, to be quite honest, is that they have their Chromebook and that it's charged. Because, yeah, we have textbooks, but I really don't give a whole lot of paper handouts anymore. And all that stuff's on Canvas. And if it's not charged and they don't have their Chromebook, then they're at a disadvantage. So the expectation, every day is that they have a charged Chromebook. And I always say to them, don't forget to charge your Chromebook. You didn't forget to charge your phone last night. So just try to remember to charge your Chromebook every day and have them do that. Obviously, mistakes happen, but for the most part, that's an expectation about being prepared. Being organized, again, looks a little bit different in 2022. Being organized is really not with paper. It's more like being digitally organized. Do they have their Google Drive organized in a way that makes sense to them? Do they have like classroom folders or whatever that might be so that they can take care of what they need to take care of? Second from the bottom says try your best, try their best. Like I said before, this may not be their favorite class, but I do need that effort from them. For some students, maybe it's for your son or your daughter, their best is a C. And as long as I see effort on their part and they are trying their best, I'm okay with that. You may not be okay with that. You may think they have a little more potential, but if I'm seeing it on my end that they're trying their best and their best is a C, then their best is a C. Okay. Now, some of them, I know that their best is not a C or a B, but if they're slacking, I'm going to get on them. They have to try their best in here. Again, participating, working well together with others in groups and stuff like that, answering questions and doing their best. Finally, last one says communicate and advocate for themselves. It's time for them to sort of take ownership of their grade, to take ownership of their education. So if they're going to be out, I'd love to hear from them to say, hey, Mr. Fink, I'm not going to be here. Or I'm leaving early because I have a soccer match or something like that, or I have a dentist appointment. Totally get it. Have them do that. If they're absent for the whole entire school day, have them reach out to me. Now, that doesn't mean you can't reach out to me at any point. Please, if you're feeling concerned about their grade, please by all means, but they also have to be invested in it as well. You can't just do it for them forever. You have to let them sort of have ownership of that as well. Okay, that's what I mean by that. All right, moving on to some of the content stuff. For literature, we have 4 different texts we have there. All My Sons by Arthur Miller is a play that we'll read in class. The Catcher in the Rye is a novel that they'll read mostly in class, have some reading time to read that. Fahrenheit 451 is another novel that they'll read in class. It's sort of a dystopian sci-fi novel. And then finally, we end with a collection of multicultural short stories in a book called The Multicultural Reader. And we'll watch a movie called Spoke Signals based on one of the stories. And at the very bottom, it says, various short stories, poems, articles, just sort of things that fit in the curriculum with all the other different textbooks that we'll read and novels that we read, just how I see fit to kind of put it in there. Moving on, vocabulary. Vocabulary is going to be looking a little bit different this year. So last year, if your son or your daughter was in Council Rock, they dealt with a program called the Sadlier Vocabulary Program. We've gotten rid of that program and moved on to another one called Membean. Don't love the name of that, but that's what it's called. So the way this works is instead of all the students getting the same words every single unit, these words are based on their ability level. So today they were given a calibration test, it was called, and they were slotted on a certain high school level of vocabulary knowledge. So each one of those tests are now going to be sort of catered to their learning style, to their ability. So there will be, I may have 25 students in this class. There's 25 different tests happening on any given test day. So it's new for me. It's new for the kids. I'm trying to learn it just as they are. But I'm really excited about this program. I think that they're going to do much better. They're going to have a lot more working vocabulary than they were probably in the past. So the way this works is they have this thing called training. So the training will be a few minutes 3 times a week, 15 minutes 3 times a week in class. And then the assessments will be sort of, I'll get an email that says, this class period is ready to take an assessment. So I'll just have that information ready and we'll assign it and we'll do that in class as well. So the training and the assessments, as the second bullet point states, will be 15% of their marking period grade. All right, this one has a combination of both classroom writing and grammar on it, and they sort of go hand in hand. So let's talk about writing. So you'll see the various different purposes for writing listed there. We'll do a combination of pretty much all of them that are listed there. The one I really want to focus on is the iSearch paper, which is their research paper. We'll do this probably in January, beginning to middle of January. It's called the iSearch because they get to come up with the topic. And I've had some interesting ones over the years, but I always try to sort of point them in a direction where they are going to be able to write a 4-page paper on their topic, and they sort of take a stance and try to do all those things there: inform, explain, explore different avenues and different little things that they never thought they would learn about this topic. But we definitely get some interesting topics, and look forward to that in the springtime. That's the big one. Grammar at this point in 10th grade, they've pretty much been exposed to and almost to the point of mastery of almost every grammar subject that we do, because they've been doing it since they've been in first, second grade. But we will still go over some things. The main things you'll see listed there: the punctuation, case, and agreement. Those are kind of the big 3. We'll do some other things here and there, but for the most part, those are really the topics that we're covering. And again, if they're good in grammar, they'll kind of have that carryover and be able to use that in their writing as well. All right, here's the big thing, which is how they're going to be graded. Okay, so first and second marking periods are exactly the same. The vocabulary is 15%, like I mentioned before. Tests, quizzes, projects, and written assignments, but not vocab tests, are the biggest portion. That's 65%. And finally, classwork, homework, participation, that makes up the remaining 20% of the grade. When we move on to the third and fourth marking period, some things shift around. Vocabulary, it says vocabulary test, but it really should say vocabulary. That is 15%, just as before. The tests that are not vocab, quizzes, projects, written assignments, that is reduced to 45%. The classwork, homework, participation goes down to 15%. And then the remaining 25, we do not have a midterm in English. A lot of other subjects do, but we do not. So the iSearch paper, that research paper I was just talking about, that's 25% of their third marking period, and the final exam is 25% of their fourth marking period grade. This last slide is sort of a catch-all. Just anything else that doesn't fit anywhere else. So Canvas. Canvas is your number one resource for sort of day-to-day keeping up with your child's grade. Some people like to check it pretty religiously. You don't need to do that. Occasionally, or maybe not at all. You kind of leave it up to your kid, like we were just saying, sort of advocating for themselves and owning their own grade. But Canvas is really the individual day-to-day grades. The second thing is about absences. I give them a week to make up any missed assessments that they need to do in class. So, things happen. They have to go to the doctor's appointment, or they're sick, or they're traveling, or whatever it might be. But those three things in the second bullet point is really what I want them to check, and they know where those things are: the Canvas calendar, the to-do list, and the weekly agenda. HAC, H-A-C, Home Access Center. The really only thing we're using that for this year is taking attendance, the interim grade, which is halfway through the marking period, and the end of the marking period grade. So that's not going to get updated with individual assignment grades. That's where Canvas is going to come in. As for returning assessments, I have to wait until everyone in 10th grade, I have two 10th grade classes, until everyone in both periods has taken the assessment or the test. When that happens, we'll go over it as a class, and then I'll sort of release it so they can all have access to that. The student handbooks, every kid was given a student handbook on the first day of school. Has a lot of good information into it. If they like to write down their assignments, that's a good place for that as well. The last two things there are just two dates I thought you might want to take note of. The first interim report, halfway point of the marking period, is October the 3rd, and the end of the first marking period is November the 4th. And those got a little bit cut off at the bottom because my big head is in the way there. It says, I'm always available to help. I'm always around before and after school. Happy to meet with your students, whether it's a, quote, clinic day or not. I'm here usually. I don't love to do Friday afternoons, but if that's the only day that they can come, then I'll make myself available for that reason. As I said, I apologize for not being here, but I am somewhere pretty important. But if you do have questions, if you need to reach out to me, if you have any comments or concerns, my email address is listed there. You can contact me that way. You can contact me on Canvas. You can blame that kid right there for why I'm not there. But please, don't feel that you can't reach out to me. I really would like to hear from you if you need to. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.